Have you ever tried to teach an AI something new only to have it confidently make things up? It's like arguing with a toddler who's sure the sky is green. I used to feel that frustration every time I fed my Notion notes and PDFs to a language model. I'd ask it a question and it would give me a beautifully written, completely fabricated answer. But then I discovered something that changed the game. I fed all my documents into a Dify Knowledge Base and suddenly it started citing its sources. It was like a light bulb went on. This, my friends, is what we call an external knowledge base. And it's the core of a powerful concept in AI RAG architecture. Welcome to our series on building AI applications. Today, in episode 39, we're diving deep into the RAG architecture, which stands for Retrieval-Augmented Generation. Think of it as giving your AI a library card instead of forcing it to memorize the entire library. It's a revolutionary idea, but as we'll see, it's not a magic bullet. So stick around because we're going to explore how RAG works, what it solves, and why it sometimes still gets things wrong. This is crucial for anyone building or using AI today. So what exactly is this external warehouse or knowledge base? Imagine you have a massive collection of documents, research papers, company policies, your personal notes, you name it. Trying to stuff all of this information directly into a language model as prompt is like trying to fit a whole library into a single backpack. It's inefficient, expensive, and you'll quickly hit the context window limit. The model gets overwhelmed and starts forgetting things from the beginning of the text, just like we might forget the start of a very, very long movie. The RAG approach is much smarter. Instead of cramming, it organizes. It takes your documents and breaks them down into smaller, manageable chunks. Think of these chunks as individual books on a shelf, but this isn't just any shelf. It's an intelligent one. This is where the vector database comes in. A vector database doesn't organize books alphabetically or by author. Instead, it arranges them based on their meaning, their semantic similarity. Here's how it works. Each chunk of text is converted into a numerical representation called an embedding. You can think of this embedding as a unique barcode that captures the essence of the text's meaning. So, chunks of text with similar meanings will have similar barcodes and will be placed close to each other on our intelligent shelf. For example, a paragraph about the benefits of remote work would be shelved right next to another paragraph discussing working from home advantages, even if the exact wording is completely different. This process of creating embeddings and storing them in a vector database is what we call indexing. It's the setup phase, preparing your knowledge for quick and efficient retrieval. Now, let's say you ask a question like, what are the security protocols for remote employees? Instead of feeding the entire library to the language model, the RAG system first goes to its intelligent warehouse. It converts your question into an embedding, that same kind of barcode, and then uses it like a futuristic scanner to find the most relevant chunks of text. It looks for the books on the shelf that have the closest barcodes to your question's barcode. This process is the retrieval part of RAG. It's incredibly efficient. Instead of reading every single book, it just pulls the few that are most likely to contain the answer. Once the system has retrieved these relevant snippets, it bundles them together with your original question and hands them over to the large language model, and essentially says, hey, based on these specific documents, please answer this question. Now, the LLM has all the context it needs, right at its fingertips. It doesn't have to rely on its pre-existing, sometimes outdated general knowledge. It can formulate an answer based on the precise, up-to-date information you provided. And because it knows exactly where the information came from, it can provide citations. It can point back to the original documents, saying, I found the answer in section 3 of the remote work policy document. This is the beauty of RAG. The essence of this architecture is to replace the brute force method of memorizing everything with a more elegant strategy of retrieving when needed. It uses targeted retrieval to substitute for an infinitely long context window. This makes the whole process faster, cheaper, and far more accurate, especially when dealing with proprietary or rapidly changing information. You're no longer limited by what the model was trained on months or years ago. You can give it a brain that's constantly updated with the latest knowledge from your specific domain. It's a powerful paradigm shift in how we interact with and build upon large language models. So, problem solved, right? The AI can now cite its sources, so it must always be correct. Well, not so fast. This is where things get a bit tricky, and it's a common misconception. I was working with my RAG system, feeling pretty proud of myself. I asked a complex question, and it shot back an answer. complete with a perfect-looking citation. It pointed to a specific paragraph in one of my PDFs, but when I checked the source myself, I was puzzled. The information in the cited paragraph didn't actually support the AI's answer. In fact, it was almost unrelated. The AI had correctly identified a relevant document, but it had completely misinterpreted its content. This brings us to a crucial question. If the system can cite its sources, how can it still hallucinate or get the answer wrong? Why doesn't the ability to cite guarantee accuracy? This is the paradox of RAG. The R in RAG, retrieval, is a fantastic filter. It narrows down a vast sea of information to a small, relevant pond. But the G generation is still handled by a large language model, and LLMs, at their core, are probabilistic pattern matchers. They are designed to generate plausible-sounding text, not to perform logical reasoning or fact-checking in the human sense. When the LLM receives the retrieved chunks, it doesn't analyze them with the critical eye of a researcher. It simply uses them as context to generate the most probable next word and the word after that, and so on. If the retrieved chunks are complex, nuanced, or contain subtle contradictions, the model can easily get confused. It might latch onto a keyword, ignore the surrounding context, and generate an answer that seems plausible but is fundamentally incorrect. It's like giving a student the right textbook page, but they only skim the headlines and then try to write an essay. They have the source, but their comprehension is flawed. The hallucination hasn't vanished. It has just changed its shape. Instead of a free-floating hallucination based on the model's general knowledge, we now have a grounded hallucination. The model is hallucinating about the provided text. It's a more subtle and, in some ways, more dangerous kind of error because the presence of a citation gives it a false air of authority. We see the citation and we automatically trust the answer more, but that trust can be misplaced. Understanding this limitation is absolutely vital. Our AG is not a magical truth machine. It's a system with two distinct steps, retrieval and generation. And a failure in either step can lead to a wrong answer. The retrieval step could fail by pulling irrelevant documents. Maybe your query was ambiguous, or the documents weren't indexed well. But even with perfect retrieval, the generation step can still fail. The model might misinterpret the retrieved text, synthesize information incorrectly, or over-extrapolate from the given data. So, what can we do about it? How do we build more reliable RAG systems? The answer lies in improving both steps of the process. For retrieval, we can use more advanced techniques like re-ranking, where a second, more sophisticated model evaluates the initial search results and reorders them for better relevance. We can also fine-tune the embedding models themselves to better understand the nuances of our specific domain. For the generation step, the key is constraint and verification. We can use clever prompting techniques that instruct the model to only answer based on the provided text, and to explicitly state when it cannot find an answer. We can also build a verification layer on top of the generation. This could involve another AI call that checks if the generated answer is factually supported by the source text. It's like having a second AI act as a proofreader for the first one. By breaking down the problem and adding these checks and balances, we can move from a simple, often brittle RAG pipeline to a more robust and trustworthy AI agent. It's a continuous process of refinement, but it's the path toward building AI we can truly rely on. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into RAG architecture. It's a foundational concept for building modern AI applications, but as we've seen, it's important to understand both its strengths and its limitations. If you found this helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next episode. We'll keep exploring the cutting edge of AI development. See you in the next one.